I'm up. Biggest pick of the draft. 5th pick, 6th round. TJ Hoshimazode. Yes, lock it up.
Who?
What? TJ, how's the vanilla? All right. TJ, who's your mama?
You mean TJ Hushmanzada from the Bengals?
Put him on the board. Hoshimazode. Got it. Championship.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Island, fellas. Johnny Ballgame is here.
What's up?
Hey. How you doing tonight, Johnny?
Man, if I were any better, I'd be 2 people. I'm doing awesome.
Double Johnny Ballgame, that'd be pretty scary. Sir Poops-a-lot.
I look like I'm 2 people.
What's up?
What's up, Tony? How you doing tonight, man?
I'm dragging, man. I feel like a bag of smashed poop is what I feel like right now. But I'll survive. Just trying to wake up.
I am the Fantasy Reaper, and I also am the Fantasy Champion, Johnny. Woo! Came through. Held
Nice, dude.
by the narrowest of margins.
Yeah.
It was so close, and it went down to the final overtime of that Raiders-Chargers game. We'll talk about that more later, but I held on.
I by the way, I told you exactly how it would happen, too, didn't I?
You did, and we'll get to that later in the show because it's an interesting story, and I definitely want to talk about it. It was fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
So, guys, now that you've made it through the season, tonight's show, we're going to talk about playing fantasy football in the playoffs. Are you guys doing this out there? Because we are. We're going to play another league just for the playoffs, and we're going to talk about strategy and stuff like that. We're going to have a full segment dedicated to that. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Because guess what, folks? We're not going anywhere. We're still coming back and doing this almost every week.
Still football season.
It's still football season.
It is. That's true. It is.
Playoffs, baby. And I know some of you want to know, like, what kind of strategy you want to use in the playoff fantasy football format. So we're going to talk about that tonight. We hope you enjoy the show. Let's start off with some humor and do some fantasy nicknames. I got some final ones for the season. I'll start us off. This guy drove us nuts in New York. I call him wide receiver Cadaverous Tony.
That's pretty good.
John, is that guy dead?
He is dead. He'll come back to life. I can't send a Reaper after him yet, but my God. Yes.
What happened to that guy? I mean, what happened to that team? Incredible.
Yeah. You got any nicknames for me tonight, Tony?
Yeah, I got some positive ones. This guy, I put in best backup, second string. He's not even really a backup. Running back in the league, A.J. Dillon. This guy deals, man. He should be a starter. He's awesome. I love watching this guy.
Got one.
You got one?
Cordero Peters Outson.
Oh, yeah, he petered out.
True.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
You know who else petered out? In Dallas. Wide receiver CeeDee Sham.
Yes.
2 weeks in a row, man. What the hell?
Another downer.
How about for you, Johnny, in the for the Chicago Bears? Wide receiver Darnell Money.
Oh yeah, dude. He's one of the few bright spots we have this year. Fantastic.
Came through
Yeah,
big.
I'll draft that guy next year, and then Allen Robinson's going to get all the catches. Probably happen. It's incredible. I put in. I got 2 right away, just right off the bat. Even though they lost, I really can't believe the Ravens lost. But Latavius Fury and Spark Andrews.
Nice.
Latavius, man, that guy was awesome. He looked awesome, but a lot of people look good at the run this year against the Steelers defense. So.
True. Yeah.
Those of us that watch the Bucs, we've seen this movie before. But how about a tight end? The big Gronkowski.
Yep.
I want to go bowling with that guy.
No doubt.
Got one. How about Derek Carn't going home yet?
Yes.
That's true, too.
How about in San Francisco, my boy, Debo's nuts? How about Debo's nuts? Because he went nuts, baby.
I got one in Los Angeles. I feel bad for this guy because technically he's a hero because he made it back, but sham fakers. That guy looked. I mean, I understand it's his first time back in months.
Jesus, dude. That's a rough one.
I'm being rough. He looked terrible.
He looked slow.
They shouldn't have put him in. I mean, I guess he needed to burn off some rust there, but Jesus, dude.
You know who else looked terrible all year long? How about Saquon, all Barkley, no bite?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, Saquon and Barkley.
How about in Dallas? Quarterback, Stat Prescott. Was that not the biggest stat padding you've ever seen in your life?
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Good
Yeah.
Lord. Come on, man. Jeez Louise.
How about Cooper? What's up? Where's my two other catches that I needed?
Yeah, right.
That was close. That was close.
You got any more nicknames? I got one more.
Kidding me? I didn't have these when I walked in here. I just coming up with them off the top of my head. Let's keep going.
You're good, Johnny. You're good. This guy saved my ass. We're going to talk about him later. How about in Miami? Nuke Johnson.
Oh, wow.
You did save your ass.
He saved my ass. Yes, he did.
That was huge. That was huge.
All right, you guys ready to go on to our next segment?
Sure. Go, buddy. Let's go.
All right, here we go.
Fantasy Rants.
I know you got a fantasy rant for me. Give me a Johnny Ball rant.
All right. So listen, people. So, and we're going to talk about this a little. We've got 7 vacancies of coaches after the latest announcement of Judge being fired after only 2 years. And it's really 8 if you count the Raiders, who have an interim coach who still coaches the playoffs. Now, as Dennis Miller always says, look, I don't want to get off on a rant here, but in my opinion, the quick trigger on coaches is an all-time high. Like, not only do you cause major instability, but think about the dead money in contracts not getting paid to your players because you're paying coaches not to coach. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It's more than that. I mean, let's bring up the Steelers as a beacon of how you do it right. I know the Steelers had a little bit of a tough year, but guess what? Still haven't lost. They've had 3 coaches since 1969 and only 2 since 1992. So for my entire life, they've had 3 coaches, and all of them spent most, if not all, of their coaching careers with the Steelers. So that means they're growing their replacements from inside instead of always going out to try to reach out for the sexy college coach or the dumbass who did something over here and got fired. And we think, oh, no, we should bring those guys in because that sounds pretty good. I mean, Tomlin still hasn't had a losing season in 14 freaking years. Do you know how many Super Bowls they've got? 6 Super Bowl championships, tied for first out of 8 appearances. Do you know they're second most only to New England in appearances, who've gone in 11 times. Also, they have 6. Guess what? They've only had 3 coaches since 1993. You start to see a pattern here, teams. Mm-hmm. Conversely, let's take a look at Cleveland, Houston, and Jacksonville, perennial losers. Since 92, Cleveland's had 13 coaches. That's an average of 2.23 years of tenure. Since its inception in 2002, Houston has had 6 coaches or interim coaches, which is an average of 3.2 years. That's the latest one. Already has rumors of being fired after only 1 season. They're already talking about David Culley getting fired when given a team of just nothing but rejects. That it looked like what was that one baseball not Bull Durham, but the Major League, when they gave them all those bad players so that they could move. That's what it looked like in Jacksonville this year. And they're thinking about firing that guy. That guy got wins this year. Should never have won a game with that roster. They've had 8 coaches. So Jacksonville started in 95. So that's 26 years. They've had 8 coaches for an average of 3.25 years. But when you consider Coughlin and Del Rio, 7 and 8 years respectively, that means since 2011 to present, 10 years, they've had 6 coaches. That's an average of 1.6 years. To mention Urban Meyer. It's a disaster. What I'm saying is organizations have really been more steady with the coaches over the last 20 years. Steelers, Pats, Seahawks, etc., have way more success because they took their time hiring them, with many coming from being developed inside the organization, and they didn't pull the trigger too fast. So let's make smarter hires. Let's relax on the quick trigger finger there, team owners, and maybe, just maybe, you'll have a team and give the fans a better product on the field, somebody better to root for, and stop making us fantasy managers everywhere want to take a bath with the toaster. That's just my opinion.
And for God's sake, Johnny, can we stop hiring these retreads? The Mike Zimmers and these guys that just keep getting recycled. These guys have proven they're just mediocre at best. Stop hiring them on new teams.
And the hot college coach. Clearly that's not working.
No,
I mean, times that fail.
Very, very rarely does that work.
Yeah.
All right, Tony, give me your rant for the week.
I feel better. That was cathartic. So.
That was you. We need to get you an ice pack, man. That was intense. My rant would probably be players that waited till this past Sunday to finally do something. And maybe I'm being a little bit critical, but I used, like I was saying earlier, Terry McLaurin, guys like that, who I needed to do something the past month. And you know, those running games, it's like, oh my God, the Bills, the Seahawks. I think I had Rashad Perry at one point in the middle of the season going, oh, he's just going to get hurt, not do anything. I'm happy for that guy. He kicked some ass. But you know what, man? How many guys did we either let go or give up on? And then last week when I really didn't need them, they scored huge. That's my rants. That is my rants.
Yeah,
Tony,
there was all kinds of that going on.
I feel like that's the equivalent of the father who went out for cigarettes 3 years ago, never came back. Then he comes back to his son's birthday party and he brings him a football. I'm the hero, everybody. Look at me now. It's like, yeah, a little bit too late there, Pops. Could have used the dad the last couple of years.
That's great.
That's a good example, Johnny. I'm gonna piggyback off of that. Speaking of Week 18 fuckery, that's what I call it. So most of these teams that we saw play these scrubs in Week 18 they're out of the playoff race. They have nothing to lose, nothing to gain, but yet the coaches are still trying to be tricky and trying to throw off the other teams about who they're going to start and who they're not going to play. And it got ridiculous. To the point where people that were expecting Samaje Perine to get most of the carries because Joe Mixon was out for the Bengals all week, that's all we heard on the news. Play Samaje Perine. You know how many points Samaje Perine got in fantasy Week 18? 0, because the coach didn't even play him. How about that? How did that feel?
Egg.
Yeah, big old fat goose egg. How about Nick Chubb? We thought, well, this week he'll definitely go off. What do they have to lose? Right? And they have a great matchup. And guess what? Nick Chubb played one quarter, and then he went out. And then he got a random carry here and there the rest of the game, and that's it.
It's really weird.
What is the point of that? Who are you trying to preserve? Who are you trying to trick? What the fuck?
If you were going to try to preserve him, because
why even dress?
That's our starting running back. I want him to be back next year. I want him to be special. I don't want to risk him. Don't even dress him. People can put in their Dearness Johnsons and whoever else was playing there at the end. Some guy named Bart, I think. I mean, I honestly don't even know who was there at the end, but I'm with you.
Why couldn't the Bengals coach just come out and say, Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon, we're going to rest them and we're going to give the rookie a chance to go? What would be the harm in that? It was a meaningless game. They weren't even going to try to win it. And why would anyone care? But no, he tried to be tricky. I don't understand that.
I'll tell you why. He was in a fantasy championship, and his opponent had Samaje Perine. That's what happened. I'm starting right now. I'm telling you. It's all fantasy related.
And then one more thing I wanted to bitch about is going for incentives in Week 18. For instance, the Eagles completely shut down. They weren't going to play their starters. They were going to just keep their guys safe. And the Cowboys decided to play Dak Prescott anyways. And Dak was 4 touchdowns short of Tony Romo's team record. And what did they do? He went out there and just threw until he got to his 5th touchdown against a shitty defense that had no incentive to play. Whoop-de-doo, Basil. Does that record really mean that much now that you did that? I mean, I thought that was stupid. And then you got guys like Marvin Jones Jr. getting fed the ball because he's got incentives in his contract that kick in if he gets a certain amount of yards. I mean, geez Louise, where the fuck were you all year, Marvin Jones? Why all of a sudden do we get Week 18 gifts? It makes no sense.
It's insulting to the fans, dude.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I do kind of think it's a little cool when somebody like Tom Brady throws a couple of extra passes to Gronk to get him over 100 yards.
Yeah.
Record like that. I do think that's cool that your quarterback is aware of it, knows it, and does it. I don't like it when a coach does it, but 5 touchdowns was ridiculous against. I believe they brought that Pee Wee team in from Philadelphia to play.
Yeah,
right.
It's not one person that normally plays, but I do like it when there's a Tom Brady or a Aaron Rodgers who wants to juice up his main guy because he's been there for him through the whole time. He gives him a couple extra catches to get it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, Gronk and guys like that have earned that opportunity, okay? Not Marvin Jones Jr. Come on now.
Right.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
All right, let's move on.
Was the guy that was playing you playing Marvin Jones?
No.
Like, what do you got against Marvin Jones Jr.?
Nothing. I just thought it was funny. Like, oh, now Marvin Jones is going to produce? Like, where the fuck were you all year? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
News and notes around the NFL.
News and notes around the NFL. Let's talk about some firings, shall we? Because there was a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
They call it Black Monday, and this is all the guys that got fired. Joe Judge, head coach of the New York Giants, was fired. Dave Gettleman, the GM, joined him by announcing his retirement. I want to talk about the Giants real quick. Do you think this helps them next year to get these guys out of there and start fresh? I want to see what you say, John.
I think Gettleman being gone is a good thing. I think he was past. You could just see it. He's just brought in really bad people lately. His draft picks were missing. I mean, he's had one number 1 pick, I think they said, in the last 10 years that's made the Pro Bowl, and that was Saquon. And then Saquon's not been Saquon since he got injured. So it was time for Gettleman to go. I feel like they pulled the trigger a little bit on Judge. I mean, maybe he just wasn't that good, and maybe there was some bad chemistry and stuff, and they listened to the team a little bit more. But God, I feel like 2 years is not enough time to get somebody to know. And then the way they did it's like Gettleman retires, and then the next day they're like, "Oh, and Joe, we forgot to tell you, get out." It's really weird to me the way it all went down. So
yeah. We've talked about Matt Nagy. We thought he was going to get fired like 10 weeks ago. He finally did get fired, which is good. It's a good thing, I think, for the Bears. He joined Mike Zimmer of the Vikings and Vic Fangio of the Broncos, who were also fired. Tony, do you think they pulled the rug on Vic Fangio too early, or Mike Zimmer, or did they deserve to lose their jobs?
Zimmer, yeah, it's time. There's a lot of talent there, and it's like we were saying, mediocre, nothing impressive.
Okay.
I have no problem with Zimmer, dude, being gone at all. I think they need to find somebody with a little zest to come in there. Nagy, to me, it was time, and Fangio. I'm not a big Fangio fan. I kind of like what he did with the defense, but his bitchy and whininess back in October or whatever it was, like with the Ravens running the ball and all that stuff. You remember that left a bad taste in my mouth. I don't play for the team, and I'm definitely not really up to date on what these teams are doing. But all in all 3 of those guys, I'm okay with personally taking the train out of town.
Here's one that go ahead, John.
I was going to say, I feel a little bit bad for Fangio because I do think he did pretty good with the talent that he's got. He just didn't have a quarterback, right? I mean, he did a great job with the defense. I thought the offense looked pretty good. I mean, I honestly think for not having a quarterback, I think he did as good as you could possibly do. I hope to God the Bears welcome him back with open arms and he comes back to be our defensive coordinator, because that guy was a phenomenal best defensive coordinator since Buddy Ryan.
Now, speaking of the Bears, they might end up with the guy I'm about to talk about right now. And this one rubbed me the wrong way. Brian Flores, head coach of the Dolphins, was fired. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to why that happened, because he did get them on a 7-game win streak, almost got them into the playoffs after a hopeless start. Speculation is that management did not see eye to eye with Flores on the direction of the quarterback of the future. Flores basically got a trade package put out for Deshaun Watson earlier in the season, had it all lined up, and wanted to go pull the trigger. And management said, whoa, let's hold off on that. We still kind of like Tua Tagovailoa. And so they didn't see eye to eye on that, and that is why the media is speculating that that is the reason ultimately he lost his job. Now, John, how do you feel about that? Is that fair to Flores? And is Tua the quarterback of the future there?
So I'm going to say this. I hope to God the Bears Flores. I think that guy's a fantastic coach. I think he's a motivator. His players seem to play hard for him, even when they weren't doing well, in previous years. This year they came back 7-game streak with Tua as their quarterback, and sometimes with what's their backup guy's name? Brissett, Jacoby Brissett. So I think it was an incredibly unfair situation. And, David Ross came out today, the owner of the Dolphins, and said, we're not going after Deshaun. So there's got to be a little bit of truth to that. And I think it's crap. So I think he was the one coach that I didn't think should have gotten fired at all. I would have absolutely wanted to keep that guy, and I think he'll get another shot quick. And I think you'll see him either head coaching next year or the year after that if somebody doesn't snap him up as a coordinator for a year or two.
Tony, do you think the Dolphins pursue the Deshaun Watson trade now, or do you think it's Tua time for another year?
This is a tough one. We don't really know what was going on behind the scenes. I mean, he seemed like a hell of a coach. First of all, he seems amazing. A little bit of a hard ass, which that works for people like Bill Belichick and other systems. So he may have rubbed a few people the wrong way. Me, on the other hand, I just don't like this whole Deshaun Watson thing. I think it's trouble. I don't think the guy, nothing has come of that, which is very peculiar. So I hate to sit here and say this is a horrible dude who deserves to be put in jail or whatever for these sexual assaults or whatever you want to call it. But there is something there. I don't even know why we are bothering, even considering anything to do earlier in the season, mid-season, anything with Watson. Like, why? Why are we even talking about this guy? If Antonio Brown can throw off his shirt or whatever he does and gets fired immediately, he's obnoxious and stuff, but he doesn't have like 21 counts of, any kind of like sexual assault or whatever, like I said, whatever those allegations are against him. I don't know. I just don't like the whole thing. I think he's a great coach. I think he should still be with the Dolphins. Now he's going to go somewhere and do a good job. But I just don't like the whole Deshaun Watson thing. I don't think we should be bringing the guy's name up till he gets his.
I don't want him to bring Deshaun Watson to Chicago, by the way. We've got to.
No doubt. Okay.
We're good things.
All right, last bit of news. This is what I wanted to talk about. That Chargers-Raiders game played Sunday night was one of the best games we've seen in a long time. The winner made the playoffs, and the loser was going to go home. However, there's one scenario where if the teams played to a tie, then both teams would get into the playoffs, and the Steelers would get knocked out of the playoffs. It appeared that the game was going to go that route as they went into overtime in a tie game. Late in the overtime, it's 30-30, and I think it was 32-32, right? And the Raiders appeared to be running out the clock. And then for some reason, Chargers coach Brandon Staley decided to call a timeout. And when he did that, the Raiders said, oh, okay, well, now we're just going to try to win it. And they got a few more yards and kicked a field goal and beat them. Talk to me about Brandon Staley, John. What is your opinion on this? Did he just completely screw his team? Did he make the error? Or do you think that this – I don't know. Do you think the Chargers – the Raiders were going to try to win it anyways, or do you think he made them change their mind? What do you think?
I mean, it didn't look like the Raiders were on their way to winning it. It looked like they were kind of just running the ball. They didn't want to lose it. They didn't want to turn it over. I didn't get it. I didn't get the timeout. I didn't understand what in the hell was happening. I think he screwed his team. I think the Raiders would have been content because they didn't really want to risk anything, right? I mean, if they could
They have nothing to gain.
There's nothing to gain out of going down there, and then you call timeout. And now it's like, oh, you're trying to win this thing. That's different. Let's go kick field goal, boys.
Right. What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, I agree. You call a timeout like that with, 39 seconds or less or something. There was no reason to call that except for that can be taken as like a threat. The threat is, hey, we're calling a timeout because we want this game. And they're like, Raiders will go, oh, okay, we're trying to be cool here. We're trying to be safe. We're helping you out. All right, then we're going to go for it. Oh, well, I think you blew it for your team. I don't know why he called it. Why did he? What was even the point?
And if you saw the sidelines, the coach of the Raiders, you saw him lip to his boys. We're good. We don't need to snap the ball again. I think we're good. And then Staley called timeout. And you saw, they were like, what? Okay. Like, all right. I mean, we're both getting in the playoffs, but that's not good enough for you? Okay. You're our rivals. Fuck you. And now we're going to beat you. That's what happened to me. I think Brandon Staley's a good coach, but he's a young coach. He goes for it too much on fourth and whatever at his own side of the field. He goes for too much. He's a little bit too aggressive, and it bit him in the ass big time in this game.
Yeah, he's a little cocky.
A little over.
He
Yeah.
went to University of Dayton, Tony. So
There you go.
got a little the Buckeye connection there in Ohio, but I don't get it. You screwed your team.
Now, let's talk about the game, because this shit was exciting. So, in fantasy football, in Week 18, we're playing for the Total Points Championship. I go into Sunday night. I'm out of players, but I'm up by 37 points. My opponent has the Chargers defense, Jared Cook at tight end, and Keenan Allen. Okay, he needs 38 to beat me, basically. All right? Goes down to the wire. The Raiders are up late in the game, and the Chargers are down 7. And it's 4th and 10 multiple freaking times. I can't even tell you how many times. And each time he hits Keenan Allen or Jared Cook, my lead's whittling away. Well, on the final drive, he hit one to Keenan Allen on a 4th and 10. Okay? I threw a tantrum because that cut my lead down to less than 2 points. And I thought I was done because they got a first down. They're still driving. He's going to catch more, and I'm screwed. Well, they went down and scored a touchdown to Mike Williams. Cook and Keenan Allen never touched the ball, and it went to overtime. And then in overtime, Johnny Ballgame called it the whole time. He says, don't worry. In our league, if the defense gives up 30 points, you take what we call the hit. You lose 10 points. He's got the Chargers D. The Raiders are sitting on 29 points. The game goes into overtime, and the whole time Johnny's saying, don't worry, they're going to take the hit. And sure enough, in overtime, the Raiders win the toss, come down and kick a field goal. Even though the game's not over, they take the hit. I get myself a nice little cushion there, and then I end up winning finally.
And then you breathe.
Yeah, it was fantastic. What an exciting game. I couldn't believe how many 4th and 10s Justin Herbert converted. But thank you to the fantasy gods for the Raiders getting over 30 points. Thank you so much. And what did you guys think about that game? Was that not the best game we've seen all season?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. This is exciting. It's great seeing teams go back and forth. And I'm going to say one thing about Herbert too. I still love that kid. I think I'm making one prediction now.
Do it.
He will be number 1 or number 2 next year by the end of the season. I really believe that. I think all the odds and ends are going to be sewn up. Maybe a few less interceptions. Every game's going to be strong for him. That's my prediction. But what a great game, dude. It was so fun. So fun.
That guy, not clutch.
Oh, it was clutch.
Clutch.
I'm going to make a call that I think Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert are going to be the first 2 quarterbacks selected next year in the fantasy draft.
Ooh,
wow.
Why wouldn't you want those young bucks? Who are you going for?
Well, Mahomes will probably still get some love. Josh Allen should get
some love.
Yeah, Josh Allen. I might go with him because he's still young. I think Mahomes showed this year he's It's getting up there. A little
Vulnerable.
bit.
Yeah.
It's vulnerable. I would rather have Burrow
But you're taking both those guys in top 5 no matter what, though.
easily.
And that's a huge compliment to both those kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're right. Probably top 4, right? So I think you just named the top 4 quarterbacks right there. In some order, it's Mahomes, it's Allen, it's Burrow, and it's Justin Herbert.
Absolutely. Can't disagree with that. All right.
Fantasy Heroes and Zeros.
Let's talk about our Week 18 Fantasy Heroes and Fantasy Zeros. We'll start with the heroes. John, start us off. Do I hear a Gaga song in the background?
Ross St. Brown, I'm Ross St. Brown, I'm Ross St. Brown. Yeah,
Yes, Johnny.
that dude was awesome. I mean, honestly, was there a more valuable receiver down the stretch? Last 4 games, over 20 points each game. Just unbelievable, that guy. It's fantastic. And got 31 points.
Woo.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
So good.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right, Tony, what do you got as for a hero this week, huh?
I'm going. I think I even brought him up last week, but Rashad Penny. I can't get over this guy. I mean, he's got some pep in the step. Because that guy's, I mean, like we said before, he's been around for a while. A lot of injuries, really struggling. He looks strong, rejuvenated, like a young, fresh, new running back. He's been a hero for
Did he drop 190 yards? I think he had 190 yards.
Like that. I know he had over 150. Like 180 maybe or something.
Yeah, I mean, what a stud. I'm looking up right now what he got because I feel like he had a humongous game. I wasn't paying attention to that game because of the situation I was in, but my God, who has him? You guys remember?
I was just looking in our league. I was thinking Tony did, but he did not have it.
And I let him go like week 7 or 8 or something like that. Started playing Alex Collins when
Why
Carson got hurt.
wouldn't you?
I found him. He did. He had 190 yards rushing.
Unbelievable, dude.
Unbelievable finish. Yeah, definitely a hero. All right.
Yeah.
You know who my hero was? This is a guy that I wouldn't even envisioned would be on a team at this point in the season this year. Duke Johnson. 25 carries, a $117, and a touchdown, and baby, at the last minute, right before the 125 games in the afternoon on the West Coast, I decided I was going to take out Damian Harris because I heard that he was going to be limited, and I put in Duke Johnson. And that is the difference in the league for me, winning or losing. Duke Johnson, he will forever be my hero. I mean, the guy had 2 good weeks all year, and one of them was in the Week 18 Total Points Championship, and I'll forever love him. Forever.
Was he even on a team to begin the season?
No, he was not. He got waived. He was not on a team. Miami picks him up off the scrap heap, and he comes through for Big Daddy.
Sir Duke's a lot.
Yeah.
No doubt, man.
All right, John.
I wasn't even big on him last week, man. I wasn't big on him. Congratulations.
I just knew he was going to get most of the carries. That's all I knew.
Right.
I figured might as well go with it.
Sure.
All right, Johnny.
I got a guy. I think if you rewound the tape to last week, I mentioned this is a guy that you should target and pick up. His name's Alan Lazard. And I said, that guy's going to get some run. 5 catches, 75 yards. How many touchdowns did he get? Dose. Got put up a 25 spot in our 25 and a half spot in our league. And that would have been my second best receiver right after Ross St. Brown. Alan Lazard, you're the dude.
Hey, guys, if you were watching this show, you would have gotten that nugget last week. And if you would have played Alan Lazard, he came through big time. Good call, John.
Thanks,
all right, Tony, you got another hero for me?
Yeah, I'm cleaning up again. I'm going to take the whole Seahawks and that they played amazingly well. I mean, it's another one of those teams where I'm pissed off because they waited till last week to do something. But Lockett came through for me. I really didn't think Lockett was going to do much. I just left him in. And I was like, I have nothing going on the last week of the season. Who cares? And Lockett came through. It was incredible. And Metcalf is kind of, the disappointment. He's not a zero, but that guy had like 11 or 12 targets and didn't get over 100 yards. He had an okay game, but it was like, how many targets can they throw to Metcalf? And he's not getting good passes or good catches this year. But that's besides the point. Lockett was another hero for me.
Hot Lockett. We love Hot Lockett. All right. My hero's pretty freaking obvious, John. He's most weeks he is my hero. You know who I'm gonna say. You've seen the movie Friday, right? Where we always scream, Debo!
Debo!
Debo! Debo, 4 catches for 95, 8 carries for 45, and a tutty. And just for fun, he threw a touchdown from 6.
That's awesome.
That's unbelievable.
What can this dude not do for? I mean, this guy does it all. And I read something interesting that I didn't know. We've been teasing about Debo from Friday, the movie Friday, but he actually was nicknamed Debo by his
After the movie. Yeah.
after the movie by his dad. I did not know that until this week.
I didn't either, actually. I heard it on an interview of some kind.
Yeah, interesting.
That was cool. Yeah.
Nugget. All right.
Soundtrack for Friday. Fantastic soundtrack.
Fantastic. And it's a funny movie, man. It's a
It's an awesome movie. It's classic for sure.
Yes.
All right. John, we got to talk about zeros. You can start us off because this guy disappeared on you. Who is it?
You've heard me on here a couple of times touting this young man as a hero to me and to some. Nay, a whole city, maybe the city of Baltimore. However, they say in the NFL is the best ability is availability. And let me tell you who wasn't available the last 3 weeks. One young Lamar Jackson. 0 points again. And you know why? Because he didn't play. Because he had a bone bruise. He was hurt. Oh, fella. You get in there. Bone bruise. Stop it.
Bone bruise with the playoffs on the line against your rival Steelers, and you're not going to play?
That's what I'm saying.
Peculiar.
Man. You wrap that damn thing up and you go out there and you throw the ball. You stop it. Stop it.
Very peculiar.
We have a word for guys like that, and it rhymes with wussy.
Yep.
So,
All right, Tony. Who's your zero?
I'm going Darrell Williams. You know, he's been good. They didn't really have to force feed the ball, but I really thought he was going to do something. It wasn't brutal. He got a few points, but man, he did not show up when he did have the ball. It was really a big disappointment. So he's my zero Mr. Running Back this week.
Yeah.
All right, I want to bitch about this guy because he came up small, back-to-back championships for the head-to-head and for the total points. CeeDee Lamb, 2 catches, 45 yards on 2 targets in a game against the Eagles, who had shut down all their defensive players, in a game that Dak Prescott threw 5 touchdowns and 300 yards, and freaking CeeDee Lamb, also with an injured player from last week. What's his name?
Gallup
went down. CeeDee Lamb played in every snap in this game and got 2 targets. You're a zero, bro.
Why is that? What happened with that guy?
Dak didn't even look at him. After the 2 targets earlier in the game, that was it. I couldn't believe it.
I don't understand. Like, I thought I saw him open a few times and stuff, but
maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe CeeDee stole something from him or flirted with his wife. I don't know, man. But something happened.
Something happened.
He's
But
mad at CeeDee.
2 weeks
He's
in a row
clearly
came up small.
the most talented wide receiver on that team, in my opinion. I think I find him better than Amari Cooper. I mean, he's amazing. It was really weird.
What did Cedric Wilson make himself a little bit of money though this week? You think that?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Nice.
Coming into this season, before the draft and all that, my favorite player was going to be CeeDee Lamb. I love this guy. And now he's my most hated guy. I hate this guy. I will not pick him next year. I'm sorry. Fucking CeeDee Lamb. All right. John.
At least you don't hold a fantasy grudge, Chuck.
Yeah. All right, Johnny, give me another one.
I had several to choose from. It was almost Osborne, because he only had one catch. However, that catch was for 21 yards of a touchdown. So he kind of redeemed himself there. But I'm going to go with a guy that I didn't draft, but I picked up early. Had a lot of success with him. Also, you've heard me tout him here in the Heroes. Cordero Patterson, where did you go, my friend? You have 4 rushes for 11 yards and 1 catch for 1 yard. Where'd you go? Why'd you leave me? Bring me back a football for my birthday.
Daddy.
You guys are awful.
All right, Tony, who you got?
This one isn't much of a surprise, and it's kind of almost generic, and it's like beating a dead horse. But I thought, because I'm an idiot, and that's why I didn't have a huge season this year, to say the least. I thought the past couple weeks this guy was going to do a little bit more. And I know you guys are going to laugh your ass off when I say this, but Odell Beckham. I knew somebody would laugh. I really thought that because
I forgot that it was 2015. I totally forgot about that.
Tony, I told you before the season, OBJ is DOA.
I know, and you were right. It just he made a couple clutch catches a couple weeks ago.
He did.
It's a few commentators, even the team were kind of up his ass, and I thought, you know what, he's going to come out on top this week. Cooper Kupp is going to get a lot, and they're going to be all over. They're like, oh, he's going to break the record, so let's cover Cooper Kupp. I'm on that train now. You can't cover Cooper Kupp. I guess you just can't cover him.
Nobody covered Cooper Kupp all year.
Yeah.
Nope.
So what's the point of worrying? No OBJ. He's awful. He's got good hands, but I don't know what it is. He sucks. He just doesn't get open. I don't know.
Hey, Chuck, remind me again, what is it that you always say about OBJ?
Yeah, OBJ's DOA. All right. And finally, you know how there's those guys, they come through in championship week and you forever remember them as your hero? Well, this guy's forever going to be my 0. I will not pick him either next year unless he falls, later on. But Nick Chubb came up small again in the championship week. 9 carries for 58 yards, 1 catch for 2 yards. And I don't even blame him. I'm wondering what the hell are the coaches doing, sprinkling him in and out in a meaningless game. Either he's playing or he's not. Which is it? What are we doing?
Chubb.
Yeah, but I can't vouch for Nick Chubb next season because no matter how good he is, he just never gets the full allotment of carries. They just never let him just go. And he's very good, but if it's all about opportunity, he just doesn't get enough opportunity.
Completely agree.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I was going to say at the beginning of the season, if you remember me saying, I feel the same way you do. I love that guy and he's uber talented. So it has something to do with Cleveland, the system. I don't know. But I said at the beginning of the season, I said, he's going to be amazing until week 10. In the second half of the season, he's going to slow down.
Yeah.
And we were saying all year, if only Kareem Hunt would go down, Nick Chubb would be a number 1 running back, right? Well, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Chubb went down, but Nick Chubb, he didn't change at all. It was
when you've got a talent like Dearness Johnson,
yeah.
How
so fast.
How can you ignore the D train for God's sake?
That guy's awesome.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Playoff Fantasy Football 101.
All right, let's talk about you folks out there that like to continue to play fantasy football into the NFL playoffs. This season's not over. It's just beginning. Right, John? Here we go again.
Man.
And Thursday night, we're going to do a draft amongst us, and we're going to draft players for the fantasy playoffs. It's going to be fun. But we want to talk about some strategies if you're doing the same thing that we are and how you should approach, because it's a different draft than your regular season draft. It's completely different. There's a whole new set of rules and strategies that you need to, go for, all right? So, Tony, I wanted to ask you, in our league, what are some of the rules that are a little different than the regular season fantasy football leagues that you're in?
Well, I mean, the rules overall are the same. I mean, it's similar, that is. obviously you have to play total points. You can't do head-to-head. It's not going to work. And you can't play 12 teams because you're already strapped. There's already not enough players to go around. So we play 8 teams. And everything is normally really, really close, really, really tight. You're looking for longevity, of course. You know that there's certain guys out there, like let's say Kirk Cousins, where they're probably not going to go to the Super Bowl, but they're going to be a solid QB. Well, for the playoffs, that's not going to work. You need to choose a QB that is you feel are going to go to the wire. They're going to go to the Super Bowl or pretty damn close to it. And they don't have to be a number 1 QB. I mean, if you're, comparing, apples and oranges, but Tom Brady's the man, right? There's a couple guys that might score higher than him. But you're going to go with Tom Brady because we're pretty damn sure he's going to go to the Super Bowl.
Also, he's in the wild card weekend. He's also playing. He doesn't have a bye, so you get that extra.
That's the next thing. That's the next thing. You want a team that's going to be playing now, and you think that they're going to get through and go as far as or as close to the Super Bowl as you can get them. And you also want to get you keep your eye out for that more depth because I think last year I picked I lost I had Godwin, but I lost a couple good starting wide receivers and running backs. Those teams were knocked out after the second playoff game. So I had to play like a Pringle. But he got a few catches in the Super Bowl, But you got to keep an eye out for stuff like that.
John, what kind of strategy are you looking in this different type of playoff format?
Yeah, so it's interesting because you talk about the bye week and everything, but I would still probably draft Aaron Rodgers over like a Derek Carr. So I don't think Derek Carr is going to get out of the first round, right? Whereas I think Rodgers at least is going to play 2 games probably. So I'd still consider doing that. And I think where you got to look now is, all right, playoffs football is a little bit different. And the Bills showed you it sort of down the last month, right? They started running where they hadn't run the whole season, which Tony so eloquently spoke about earlier. Like they screwed them all year with the running backs, and then finally they kind of take off towards the end. I think you'll see more of that in the playoffs. So I'm looking at running backs actually being valuable. But the scoring in our league, after looking at that, quarterback is your guy.
Quarterback heavy.
You got to get a good quarterback. Have to.
Yeah, the quarterbacks are going to score a lot, even more so than our regular season format. A little extra juice for the quarterback, so you got to get the right one. My strategy might be a little different. It's on the same wavelength as you guys, but I might be looking to stack guys on one team that I think is going to go all the way like on a Super Bowl run. And one of the teams that I'm thinking about is your Cincinnati Bengals. I think they can get by the Raiders this week, and then they move on. I think they could possibly beat the Patriots or the Bills, and they can move on. And who knows? They could go all the way to the Super Bowl. And I want Joe Burrow and Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase and all the freaking T. Higgins and CJ Azoma. If I could stack all those guys and the Bengals make it to the Super Bowl, how the hell are you going to beat me?
You're going to win. But if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, you're going to lose.
Exactly. It's kind of an all or nothing kind of ordeal. You don't want to have a couple guys from every team. That's not how you're going to win, in my opinion. Yeah. You want to stack some guys and pick the right team. I think we'll go all the way. I think that's the way.
A couple years ago when I was looking at these sites on how to do this, how to organize this league, I couldn't understand at first when you're tweaking in the settings why it asks how many players do you want to allow these teams, how many players from one team are they allowed to draft? And I was like, who gives a shit? And then I thought about it for a minute. I was like, yeah, exactly what Chuck's saying. Because if the Bengals make it to the Super Bowl and you have all Bengals, you're winning the league hands down. So that's why it's asking. It had a limitation of like you 3 or less kind of deal. Now I still put 0 on there for the rules. I was like, I don't want to go there quite yet.
There's no reason to, because we're doing a snake draft. Everyone has an equal opportunity to grab whatever
they do. They do, exactly. Unless something gets out of hand. I've like I said, I've played for a few years, and I mean this in all due respect to some of the guys in the league if they're going to watch this show. The league hasn't been real strong. Some of it's because we're just playing for the hell of it, like a beer drinking kind of league, something to do, root on a few players during the playoffs. So yeah, we've had a few guys that are just kind of like not really taking it serious. So I'll leave it at that. Now this year, the guy that won the sleeper league, he's actually really good. He's going to be in the league. You and Johnny, you guys are the GOATs. It's a very solid, strong league. Good. There's no weakness. Let's put it that way. So
Chuck's cousin made a strong run there at the end in our league too. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this turns out. We may have to vote next year where we change the points on QBs, but I made it like that for fun and also to give some of the guys that are weaker, give them an opportunity to compete.
I love it. I mean, just the fact that your season's not your fantasy season's over, but now you got another opportunity to start fresh and roll in the playoffs, and it means something. Hey, it sounds great to me. I don't know why more people don't play in the playoffs. They do the DFS. Why not?
I will say this is the first year I've done it. I've never even thought about doing it before. That's my first year of doing a fantasy class. I'm kind of excited to see how it goes, and who knows? Could be a.
We played 1 year back with the Lawsons.
Yeah, you're right. We did do that like early.
We went over to the city of Burbank or something and like drafted over there real fast, and everybody was all nervous. And that's the year I actually had Jake Delhomme and Steve Smith, and they went to the Super Bowl. I think I got like second place in that playoff league. Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of a little unorganized, and I think my fantasy league wasn't really like adding the scores up right, so we kind of manually did it. It
was weird.
Yeah. So we didn't do it the next year.
That was also the year I had them in the regular season and won total points that year because Delhomme were nuts.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Wow, it's the first time we ever had a wire-to-wire winner. That was memories.
That's great. That's been a long time ago. My God.
Gosh, the Rams, I'll never forget. I had Carolina's defense and the Rams defense, and I just happened to choose right every week as to which one would go off versus the other one would take a hit or something. It was just crazy. It was crazy.
You're right, because Ben, you guys remember Ben. Ben was in the sleeper league. He was in Colorado now, but he was getting so mad. He's like, does Johnny just flip a coin and win every time? He's like, why would you? At one point, he was yelling, like, why would you play the Rams against something? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I go, he knows what he's doing. Like, he was like, there's no way. And then he gets like 80 points. He was so mad.
God, they did. They went nuts that year.
That was great. That was easily
my best fantasy year ever in the history.
Good times.
That's when you started really earning the nickname Johnny Ballgame.
That's right. That's right.
Super Wildcard weekend matchups.
Now that we've discussed like the playoff fantasy football league, now we can move on to some matchups this week and talk about the guys we like and who we think might advance and so forth, and get a little bit more in depth with the matchups. So let's start with the Saturday games. And the first game right off the bat is one of my favorite games. It's the Raiders at the Bengals. I want to start with you, Tony. Bengals are your team. What are you expecting in this game?
Jeez, I'm such a such a negative Nancy. Let's call it that. Listen, I'm a big fan. The Bengals are great. They're exciting. I've just had so many years of disappointment, especially one and done under Marvin Lewis. It was like,
you mean
there's some hope
actually
there.
Just one and done? Did he only make it to the playoffs one time as a head coach or something like that?
I think he did it twice with Dalton, right? And I think they just got their
one
asses
playoff
handed,
win.
whatever.
I think between
Yeah, it's just terrible, whatever. So, I'm a little leery, but let's come on. I'm being ridiculous. The Bengals are superior. I think we don't talk enough about their defense. Their defense has really stepped up. They've really improved. They've been great at stopping the run, especially the past 5 or 6 weeks. And I think if those guys are healthy and refreshed and ready to go, I think that's going to be the deciding factor. They're going to slow down the Raiders immediately, and they're going to throw the hell out of the ball. And I think we're going to pull out a nice win.
And this is the stack, the ultimate stack. If you can get Joe Burrow, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, man, go for it. Stack the Bengals because you're going to get at least 2 games. I just don't see the Bengals losing this game at home, their first playoff game in so long. It's going to be fun. If you can get some Bengals, you're guaranteed 2 games as far as I'm concerned. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I agree. I think the Bengals win this. I think they exercised a few demons this year. And I think this is going to be another one. I think we just see a different Bengals team. It's dawning of a new day for Cincinnati. They took care of business down the stretch when they had to. They're going to be rested because they rested most everybody last week. The Raiders are an emotional ass win on a Sunday night. This is on a Saturday day. There's no reason Cincinnati should lose this. Knock on wood. I'm going to find some wood to knock on. But I think you're right. I think you get a stack for those guys and you get at least 2 games out of them.
And in true Cincinnati Bengals form, they'll probably lose.
Yep.
All right. Here's the game of the week as far as I'm concerned, because I'm honestly not convinced the Bills will beat the Patriots again. But we're in Buffalo, Saturday night, Patriots at Bills. This should be super exciting. What do we think? I'm coming right back to you, Johnny. What do we think?
Bills. I think the Bills play to their competition. They suck with sucky teams. They play good with good teams. I think they go in there, and I think Allen shows why everybody thought he was going to be the phenomenal superstar in the beginning of the year.
Okay, so that means Josh Allen's a good pick in fantasy. A sneaky,
Josh
really
Allen's
good
a fantastic pick.
Devin Singletary or multi-carry is a sneaky good pick if you think you're going to get at least a couple games out of the Bills. Been on fire lately. What do you think, Tony? Anyone else that you want fantasy-wise in this game?
Well, God. Yeah, I mean, you're still going to go with a Diggs. I think the Bills are going to take this. The coach can kill them, and there's a lot of talent on that offense. But if Belichick can come up with something and pump up that defense has the possibility to create some friction.
Good.
They really could. But I think Johnny hit the nail on the head. They play well against strong competition, and when they play sucky teams, they suck. I don't know what that is or why. They just go into it going, oh, we got this, and then they fail and they kick off on Sunday or what. But I think you're right, dude, and I think the Bills are going to take them.
Where do you think Damian Harris goes in the draft Thursday night? I'm interested because I don't think the Patriots are going to go far. So, but Damian Harris, I think, is going to have a good game against Buffalo. He kills Buffalo.
I know, but it's tough, man, because they've got DeMondre Stevenson's the real deal. That guy's a running back. It's a good running back. They split those carries.
Damian's still the alpha.
I know, but if you only get one game and you get even 3/4 of Damian for one game, is that a good draft choice?
True. What if they win, though?
Yeah.
What ifs, what ifs?
Damian for 2 games.
All right, let's move on to Sunday games. And this is the mismatch of all mismatches. I mean, if a team, they have no chance. The Eagles at the Bucks. I mean, Tampa's just going to roll them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing to discuss here. That defense is not going to be able to stop anything. Is Fournette playing? Isn't he back?
Fournette should be back. All the receivers will be playing except for Godwin and Antonio Brown, of course. But Evans should be okay. I believe Gronk looked good last week. And Tom Brady, man, he's got to be the number 1 pick in fantasy, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's between him and Patrick, right? I mean, if you believe what everybody believes, that those 2 teams are probably going to.
Yeah, and how far do you think? What do you think the Packers are going to do?
Rodgers, but they have a bye though.
I don't think the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl. By the way,
that's fine. But when we're talking about Rodgers,
Buffalo Bills are going to the Super Bowl.
Well, we're talking about like Rodgers. You're not getting that first week worth of points.
Yeah.
Whereas
true.
with Brady and Mahomes, you are. So I don't know, like that.
I think Brady's going to be
it depends on if you think Rodgers is going to get to the Super Bowl and Brady is not, then it evens out. They both get 2 games. Who's going to get more points in those 2 games?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, let's move on to what I think is an exciting game, and it's the 49ers at the Cowboys. And I think either team could win this game.
I do too.
No feel for it because we saw what San Francisco did to the Rams last week, coming back from down, 2 touchdowns or 17 points. And you see what Devo can do to a team. He can, like, single-handedly destroy you, throwing the ball, running the ball, catching the ball. And he's a beast when he's on the open field. I mean, Do we think – I think the Cowboys are a good stack because they can go far, but first they got to get through the 49ers. What do we think is going to happen, Tony?
Ooh. I like this. I mean, I think that, the Cowboys have been a little bit up and down all season. 49ers have a little bit of heart. Garoppolo showed signs of that heart, which is impressive. But overall, I still think the Cowboys are going to win. If the Cowboys lose, I think they got big problems, and they're not going to allow that to happen. So,
How did we not hear Jimmy drop a load? How did we not come up with that in our fantasy nicknames?
better late than never.
So you John, you think Jimmy's going to come up short?
Yeah, I do. I think the Cowboys end up winning this game. I love Debo. I'll take Debo all day in a daily fantasy. I'll tell you that much.
Heck yeah.
In every roster that I can do. But I think the Cowboys just have too much firepower. 49ers are built to beat them because they've got a pretty good defense. But I just think at the end of the day, I just don't think quarterbacks match up. I think Dakota Rain gets it done.
Dakota Rain Prescott. All right. Sunday night game. Steelers, who backed in thanks to the non-tie, at the Chiefs. Now, they played a couple weeks ago, and the Chiefs manhandled them pretty well. Do we think the Steelers have any chance whatsoever in this game, or are the Chiefs just going to roll them at home?
This is actually the game I thought you were talking about when you said the biggest mismatch of the week. So,
I did too.
So no, I don't think the Steelers are going to come anywhere close to it. I think they're lucky to be there. Give Big Ben a send off, and good night now. Thanks for coming.
So I don't think this is the biggest mismatch of the week. I think the Steelers are going to give them a tough game. I don't think they're going to win, but I don't think it's going to be easy because the Steelers' defense is playing better. They've kind of got an identity on offense now. Big Ben's not turning the ball over anymore. Claypool stepped up a little bit last game. I think they're going to give the Chiefs a tough matchup. Tony, no?
I think that they're going to give them a tough matchup the first half, and you're gonna be like, told you. Look, Chiefs are only up by 3, and then the Chiefs are going to win by 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. That's what I think.
I could see that.
If by tough first half you mean the Chiefs will be up 21-0.
I think it's going to be like 13-7 kind of thing in the first half, but we'll see.
I think it will be 21-3 Chiefs at the end of the first half. I will be texting Chuck saying how bad the Chiefs are going to beat the Steelers. And then the Steelers will find some way to claw back into it in the second half because the Chiefs will have taken their foot off the gas, and then they'll probably barely win.
That's a good point, too. That's a possibility.
All right, Monday night game, final game of the week for the playoffs. Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams. I worry about the Rams in this game, Johnny. What do you think, man?
I'm not sure there's a playoff game I care about less. I just don't like the Cardinals. Have I mentioned that yet this year? I would say this. Hurts kind of came through for me there towards the end. He did a nice job. But no, I think the Rams are going to be the Rams that they're supposed to be once we get to the playoffs. And I just don't think the Cardinals had anything down the stretch. That was not a good team coming down the stretch. What were they, 1-4 like that? That's not the way you want to get into the playoffs. You want to limp them. So I think the Rams. Yeah,
but the Rams always have a tough time with the Cardinals. The Cardinals seem to have their number a little bit. Tony, talk some sense into this, man.
Yeah, they do. I think it's going to be a close game, man. I think it's going to be back and forth. Not big scoring, but I think it's going to be a hell of a game. And it's the same thing. I mean, me and Johnny kind of talked about this at the beginning of the year. We both talked about, Murray kind of fizzling out towards the end, and he does. I'm mostly concerned about the Cardinals' defense. They started out really strong, and they just they've opened some holes, man. They really have.
And you got an offense that can score a boatload. So.
Yeah, but the Rams' defense has been porous too.
They have been too.
Look what the Niners just did.
But honestly, they don't have a Debo.
Yeah, but James Conner is no joke. That guy's tough.
That's the one guy.
The Rams get out-physicaled a lot, and the Niners are the ones that do it to them the worst. They out-physicaled them and beat them. And Arizona,
I don't think the Cardinals can.
They can do it with James Conner. I agree with you. I think your quarterback with the small head came up small, late
Tiny little fella.
But if they run the ball like they did the last few weeks with James Conner, they can abuse the Rams defense. I'm telling you, this is going to be a game. This is going to be a good game.
I do want to make one correction. I don't say he's a quarterback with a small head. I say he's a small quarterback with a huge head. His crane is giant.
You know, I'm mostly excited about having a
What?
playoff game on a Monday night.
I know it's kind of
what I'm
cool, right?
excited about.
Yeah,
That's
It's
awesome.
kind of cool.
kind of neat.
All right, guys. We appreciate you watching yet again. Another episode of Fantasy Sports Island. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. We'll be back in a couple weeks to go over some more playoff matchups and all that good stuff. And thank you to Johnny Ballgame for another great show. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. Congratulations, Chuckles.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congrats, bud. Congrats.
Fruit Salad, Tony. I appreciate you as well. Thank you for coming on yet another
Thank
episode.
Ooh.
And for those of you that are playing fantasy football in the playoffs, good luck. We hope you enjoy the playoff games. This is the Super Wildcard weekend. You get that extra game because there's 2 extra teams in the playoffs this year. What more can you ask for, guys?
Before you sign out, Chuck, though, can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Give us, condolences to a good friend of ours who's clearly lost his will to live in the fantasy world, and that's Rolls Royce. Royce, we'll pour one out for you, buddy. We know that it was a rough season, and you couldn't show your face on the show because you lost a lot of people a lot of money. I think you told them to. And so this is really also just to make sure you watch the show. So I expect an answer. I expect a text. I expect something.
In the comments, right, Johnny?
That's right. I want something. Give me something. All right.
We love you, Royce. Or
We love
shall
you,
we call
brother.
you?
Miss you, man.
Where's Waldo? Where's Waldo, right, guys?
That's it. That's it.
All right,
Rolls,
folks.
you go.
Thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned in a couple weeks for another edition of Fantasy Sports Island, and aloha.
Aloha.
The playoffs? We'll talk about playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Tune in for another episode of Fantasy Sports Island in the
The playoffs? We'll talk about playoffs?
Hey, did you tell people to like us and subscribe and all that stuff?
Of course I
bit.
did.
A little
I did
bit.
in the opener.
Let's just make sure we do it again, man. Hey, like it and subscribe now.
Hit that like button. You know what? Pound that like button.
Do not make me tell you again.
Hit that notification bell.
I will turn this podcast around.